Are there any effects of practice that we can keep with age, even with old age? And are there any effects of practice that are temporary, and we can potentially at least lose them with aging?
How about you? Can I ask? you, when did you start your practice? How many years ago?
Like 10.
10 years ago. And then now it's... so how's do you mind to share? I mean, in propensity of your question.
Share my experience?
Yeah, do you mind,
There is something that keeps digest or develop. There's something that is like a muscle, and if we train, it's strong, and if we stop, it's looser. And there is something that's only in this moment cannot develop or cannot lose.
Very good point, I think, about your actual question. I think there is something like an experience when we get aged, that because we face, some situation over and over, so that we learn and kind of acknowledged. But there is also something that actually you, I think, pointed out that something just, that's it. And that's just whether you can manage it or not, that kind of matter. So I think when I was giving opening talk, when this Kyol Che just began, I shared about this, Zen Master Tan Wol's teaching word that everyone has 3 bodies. Yeah, like form body, karma body, dharma body. Of course, that's also word and the kind of idea, but it's very interesting to hear that kind of teaching word because, and then actually I mentioned during the talk that no matter how old you are, no matter how long you have been practicing, if these 3 bodies separate, because Zen Master Tan Wol said that for a true human being, these 3 bodies are not separate, but function as one. So of course that means in our tradition, this point is not actually different from function and truth. I mean, some people are new here, so don't really maybe understand what I just showed the action. You will see that when you start Kwan interview. So yeah, there are regarding your question, there are 2 kind of points. There's something that we can be familiar from our own experience, or some people not even able to, even if they get aged. But generally, if you get old, there are some matters actually you can deal from your own experience. But there is the other thing that actually it doesn't matter how old you are, or how long actually you have been practicing. That's what you just expressed this way. So that this later one, the second one, is exactly what Zen Master Tan Wol was talking about, I would say, because that only when you are free from this all opposite ideas or dualism, when you only get truly free from that, then you get it. And that's not about how old you are. Doesn't matter actually. You can get it maybe, well, let's say like even when you're like early 20s or even before that. And it doesn't matter how old, maybe you are 70, still you may not get it. Because it's not about actually aging. I mean, it's so, when we talk about impermanence, it's so funny because teenagers or 70 years old, 80 years old, it sounds like so there is a big difference, but of course when we think about this life after lifetime, or this, how this universe was created, or how old is the mountain. 70 years old is just like, even we cannot, grab the idea. It's so short. It's like just one dot in the whole universe. So, it's not about aging at all. Of course, in practice, if you get aged, and actually if you had at least had some kind of direction in your practice, there must be some kind of gain from being aging. Because at least if you have a clear direction in practice, then this experience being digested, if you had a clear direction in practice, then you get some kind of, some significance in your practice so that you can be more wise. But it's not like always and not to anybody. Some people practice harder and harder, and then sometimes they just get even more stubborn, because they are this ego I bigger and bigger. We used to hear this from Zen Master Tan or from other teachers. Like someone like in Sangha practice really hard physically. Like they spend lots of time for bowing, sitting, and then like a solo retreat. But sometimes those people, just very difficult to relate to other Sangha members or even in their own life. That means all this energy from their practice just go into their ego. So not always being aged means actually become like a mature in practice. It's very important. Of course, this consistency is also very important in practice, but more important is why we practice. Then this age can really also be bonus, because Zen also is about experience. It's not about understanding. Our practice is about doing it, experience. It's not about understanding, about good theory or idea, even about practice. So if we have a clear direction in practice, as time goes by, that will be digested. There will be like some experience so that you can be more wise, so to say. So, I just think about myself. Am I different from the time I just started to practice, and then after some, years, what's the difference? Yeah, definitely there is. But original point, you can get it maybe in your teenagers, or you may not get it even if you become 80 years old. Recently, I thought about about giving like these talk things. In our Sangha, you need some kind of title, and how come as depending on the tradition, it's all different. When you are supposed to give this kind of public talk, or what's the opening talk, and what's this authority things. Like Zen Master Sahn was 21 when he got big breakthrough enlightenment, as we learned. And then he, in his generation in Korea, there were many big Zen masters. And they became like a Choshil, like a Zen Master Taebong. They became Choshil in a temple in their early 30s, or even late 20s. It's like your age, you became choshil. It can be a little about this social situation because Zen Master Sahn, it was like right after Korean War he got this big breakthrough. Before the Korean War, there was a long like a Japanese occupation time, so there was a really tough time for Korean people. And then many actually Zen masters appeared, like a very prominent Zen masters around the time. So it can be also about the time you are living, but it's not just about like the circumstance you are living, the era. It's about like how actually your original nature can bloom. So it's not just about these age things. Of course, experience can be different. Yeah, so you have a clear direction in your practice, then being aged can be a bonus for your practice and life too.